Crab cakes have been on my too intimidated to make list for years now. That delicate meat has a hefty price tag, and I've been so scared that I would mess them up. But recently, a wave of bravery came over me. In a split second, I decided today is the day. Okay, I'll be honest, I just really had a massive craving for crab cakes. But not just any crab cake would do. I wanted them to taste just like the kind I get at that fancy restaurant down the street. Hey there, I'm Lynn Brazil from Evolving Table, and today we're gonna be whipping up some Maryland-style crab cakes, along with 2 different sauces that you can serve them with. We'll be making a kind of spicy Remoulade Sauce, along with a more tangy Tartar Sauce. I'll be cooking mine up in a cast iron skillet because, come on guys, that crusty sear you get, mwah. I'll also be giving you baking directions as well as air fryer instructions if you'd prefer to cook them one of those 2 methods. So if you're ready to get to cooking, then come on in and let's get started. We'll be making a more Maryland-style crab cake today with lump crab meat, mayo, mustard, and spices similar to Old Bay seasoning. This is also the kind typically found in restaurants and uses a bit of breadcrumbs and an egg as the binder. For the crab, you can either choose to use fresh or previously packaged meat. In either case, you'll want to look for lump crab meat. Jumbo lump is a little more expensive than regular, and the only real difference is the size of the meat and not so much the flavor. This next step is super important and is where I messed up the first time I tried making these at home. You'll want to make sure and sort through all of your crab meat and pick out any remaining shell pieces that you find. What? Yes, oh my gosh, even the canned crab meat sometimes has little pieces of shell in it. And the last thing you want to do is bite into that tender crab cake only to get this crunchy piece that's not supposed to be there. So make sure you completely sort through all of your crab meat. Once you've done that, grab a large bowl and add 1 egg to it, along with 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, half a teaspoon of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Whisk ingredients until well combined. If you're a fan of the really traditional Maryland-style crab cakes, you can substitute the paprika, cayenne pepper, salt, and black pepper with about 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of Old Bay seasoning. Add in 1 pound of lump crab meat, half a cup of panko breadcrumbs. This is the gluten-free brand I like to use. 2 tablespoons of chopped chives or green onions, and 2 tablespoons of finely chopped fresh parsley. Gently mix until just combined. Pay very close attention to not overmix so you don't end up with shredded instead of lump crab meat. Let mixture sit in the refrigerator for at least 20 to 30 minutes. You may be tempted to skip this part completely or speed it up. But trust me when I say, if you let this rest for just a little bit of time, it will be so much easier to actually form the mixture into patties. And also, they'll hold together a lot better when they're cooking. So after it's done resting, scoop out about 1/3 cup of the crab cake mixture. Form it into a round disc that's about 1 inch tall. Repeat this step with the remaining mixture until you have 8 crab cakes. My preferred method for cooking crab cakes is in a cast iron skillet. You get that gorgeous crusty sear on the outside and just enough oil to give it a little bit of flavor. But if you'd prefer to bake these in the oven, then go ahead and place your crab cakes on a parchment paper lined baking sheet. You want them to be at least 1 inch apart. Bake in a preheated 375-degree oven for 12 to 14 minutes, flipping them halfway through. You can also cook them in an air fryer. Heat your air fryer to 375 degrees for at least 3 minutes. Place 4 crab cakes in a single layer on the metal grate and brush each one with a bit of oil or spritz them with nonstick cooking spray. Cook them for 10 minutes, flipping halfway through. For the stovetop method, place a cast iron or stainless steel skillet over medium heat and add 1 tablespoon of oil. I'm using avocado oil, but olive oil may also be used. Wait a minute or two for the oil to come up to temperature. Add 4 crab cakes and make sure not to overlap them. Cook for 3 to 4 minutes per side or until the edges are crispy. Repeat with the remaining crab cakes. Serve crab cakes with a sprinkle of fresh parsley or chives, lemon wedges, and some homemade remoulade or tartar sauce. Seriously though, no crab cake would be complete without at least one of these 2 sauces to serve them with. So go ahead and grab a medium-sized bowl. For the remoulade sauce, add 1 cup of mayonnaise, 3 tablespoons of Creole or spicy mustard, 2 tablespoons of dill or sweet pickle relish, 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of Cajun or blackened seasoning, 1 clove of crushed garlic, 2 teaspoons of prepared horseradish, 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and 1 teaspoon of hot sauce, such as Tabasco or Frank's Red Hot. Whisk all of the ingredients until well combined. Store remoulade sauce in a refrigerator for 1 to 2 hours or up to overnight so the flavors can meld together. This sauce is definitely more on the spicy side, with that hot sauce and the Cajun seasoning. So if you prefer a sauce with your crab cakes that's a little milder, the tartar sauce might be more up your alley. So for this, go ahead and grab another medium-sized bowl and add 1 cup of mayonnaise, half a cup of finely chopped dill pickles, 2 teaspoons of pickle juice, 2 tablespoons of finely chopped fresh dill, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of sugar, this is optional, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Whisk ingredients until well combined. Refrigerate the sauce for 1 to 2 hours or up to overnight. This helps the flavors to meld together. Store leftover sauce for up to 2 weeks in the refrigerator. Oh yeah. I could just keep dancing because these are so good. Seriously, guys, I think that these rival even my favorite restaurants. If you want a few more restaurant quality recipes, make sure you check out these other impressive main dishes. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one.